Welcome to another episode of BowCast, brought to you by Full Moon Productions and BowCast.com. This is the podcast with the new school archer in mind. BowCast covers everything from tips, techniques, and archery technology that will help raise your success in the field. And now, here are your hosts covering the straight shot, Anthony and Anil.
Hello BowCasters, my name is Anil Roney. I'm back again here with Matt Hogue, the archery lead at the Sportsman's Warehouse here in Littleton, Colorado. If you watched the last video episode, we actually went and took my backup string and strung my bow back up. And what we wanted to cover today is actually paper tuning. Anthony and I have talked a lot about paper tuning on various episodes with BowCast. We're going to do this on video so you can actually see the tears. And maybe, Matt, that's a good point to maybe tell the audience a little bit about why paper tuning is so important.
Paper tuning is important because you can have the correct arrow, the correct bow, rest set up correctly, and basically what we're doing is paper tuning the bow to the shooter and his techniques. We want to make sure that we are getting ideal arrow flight coming out of the bow it's going to help you with your broadhead shooting and stuff down the road.
Excellent. And hopefully, if things work well, since this was my backup string, my peep sight was already tied in there, the knock point was the same. Hopefully I'm not off too much, but we'll see. Let's get on the range.
Well, and one thing I also want to cover is just because your bow and your string was paper tuned last season, string stretch, things come loose throughout a season, and just sitting in the bow case, it's something you want to do periodically, at least once a year before you go out and hunt. It will help you out a lot.
At least once a year, and that's why we're here. So let's get on range and do it.
It's very important as you're paper tuning to make sure that you use the customers or your arrow when you're paper tuning. The arrow is one of the most critical things. Having too long of an arrow, the correct weighted point that you're going to use to shoot is very important in paper tuning.
Yeah, and Matt, while you have that arrow up, let me point out a couple things that Anthony and I have talked about. You see my wraps on my arrows, bright orange. When we talk about game recovery, which we talked about a few episodes ago, those bright colors are really going to help you out there in the field. So that's another thing I'll point out with my setup.
Yeah, because you can really track these even to the target. I hit an elk a couple years ago and didn't get a complete pass through, but as the elk ran downhill, I was able to see exactly where that arrow was sticking out of the animal, which made it really nice.
All right, well, let me shoot through this paper. So let's take a look at that first tear there.
What we've got is a left tear, which is telling us the point of the arrow is hitting here, and you can see our fletchings and the arrow is kicking to the side. So two things it's telling us is either we're getting contact as the arrow's leaving the bow on the rest or the riser of the bow, or we need to move our rest.
So probably a good idea to take one more shot, Matt, right? Make sure we get that same tear.
You can take a second shot to verify, and if we start to see an inconsistent tear, that's telling me that it's shooter form.
Okay, let's take a look. So second shot, what do we got going on here?
Second shot, it wasn't as bad as the tear as the first one. So we used two separate arrows that, as you can see, as Neil was marked, they weigh a little bit different. So that could be the arrow. So we are going to pick the best of the two arrows and verify a shot again. But we are still seeing the same left tear. So this is a little bit of maybe the difference in the two arrows or shooter form. But we're still getting that consistent left tear.
So we're going to take our time, make sure we get a consistent tear and do another shot, right?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. All right, Matt, I think we're there. Let's talk through some of the shots that I made here on the paper.
Okay, what we've seen is a consistent left tear, and what we did is made an adjustment, which brought us to basically straight up and down. We're getting our point here knocked a little bit high, made a knock loop adjustment, which has got us these two good tears, which I think anybody would be happy with, which is right what we want, a bullet hole, our point and our fletchings tearing through the same hole.
Looks good. Sounds like it's my time to get on the range now and really make sure I'm back in.
Yeah, sighting back in with that string, you may have to just make one gang adjustment to get you back into the game.
So Matt, we have a little chart here. So as we went through paper tuning, how did we know based on the tear I was getting what to actually do to my bow?
What we've basically done is gone off of a paper tuning chart here, and this was the tear that Anil was experiencing, and what it tells us to do is fingers and release, and basically what it was our rest was too far to the left, and we made a rest adjustment to the right. So as we were looking at the bow, our rest was too far out to the left, so with this Hoyt sight or rest, we were able to make a micro adjustment with the loosening the locking screw and then moving the sight to the right to get the correct tear that we were looking for.
How about a couple of those other tears real quick? Is it just opposite?
It's basically opposite of what you're seeing, and that's in a perfect world. Like I said, some of the things you need to look at when you're getting tears, like especially a left tear that's kicking away from the riser, or opposite if you're a left-handed shooter, is you want to make sure that your fletchings aren't coming in contact with the rest, your cables, the riser of the bow, because that's going to give you that kicking, and moving your rest really isn't going to fix that. You need to look at some other things. Your up and downs are moving either your string loop or a knock set, and moving it the opposite direction. But this is not chiseled in stone. It is just it's a guide and a tool to help you. And even in this little caption here, I've had it highlighted that paper tuning is not archery law, it's not chiseled in stone, but it will help you get proper airflow.
Excellent. All right, Matt, well, I want to thank you again for taking me
Anytime.
through paper tuning. Hope that was educational for you folks out there. Definitely spend time with your pros to get that paper tune. I obviously had to do it because I put my old string back on my bow, but I like to do it at least a couple times a year to make sure that I'm on my target. And now I'll actually take this well paper tuned bow out to the range and fine tune even more. So we'll see you all on the next episode. Matt, thanks again. Thank you to Sportsman's Warehouse as well. See ya.
We at BowCast would love to hear from you. You can email Anthony and Anil directly at info@bowcast.com. For more information, visit and contribute to the BowCast blog at www.bowcast.com. On behalf of the entire BowCast team, thanks for listening, good luck in the field, and keep those arrows flying straight.